Hello everybody, welcome back to Mason Zero ASMR. Today I'm going to be showing you all a graphics card that I recently picked up for a build. This is a build that was commissioned from someone to me, and their requirements were that it should play League of Legends at 100 frames per second, which is pretty simple to do, and also to play PUBG at 60 frames per second, which also should be relatively straightforward. So, with that in mind, I built them a system. Their budget was $700. I think we exceeded that a little bit just for the graphics card, but as you can see here, we have an RX 590 Fatboy from XFX. This is an AMD Radeon graphics card with 8 GB of GDDR5 VRAM. It is VR ready, which is great. Most graphics cards of this sort of performance level are very VR ready. If we're comparing this to NVIDIA, I believe this sits somewhere around a GTX 1060 to 1070. I'm not entirely sure what the direct comparison is there, but certainly somewhere in that range. So as you can see from the bottom, this card has DirectX 12, Vulkan, Chill, FreeSync 2 HDR, Relive, and has 3 DisplayPort outputs, 1 HDMI 2.0, and 1 dual-link DVI. XFX Radeon RX series system requirements. PCI Express based PC is required, with 1 X16 lane graphics slot available on the motherboard. 500 watt power supply with at least one 8-pin plus one 6-pin PCIe power connector. Note: minimum recommended system power supply wattage is based on the specific graphics card and the typical power requirements of other system components. Your system may require more or less power. OEM and other pre-assembled PCs may have different power requirements. Minimum 4 GB of system memory. Recommended 8 GB. We're going with 16. Installation software requires a keyboard, a mouse, and the display. DVD playback requires DVD drive and a DVD. A display with digital input, HDMI or DisplayPort, is required. Blu-ray playback requires Blu-ray drive and a Blu-ray disc. Supported operating systems: Linux, Windows 10, and Windows 7. 64-bit operating system required. Let's take a look at what the back of the box says. We have key features. Supercell, 100mm plus 11 blades. XFX is proud to introduce a deadly combination of size and substance. Core temperatures will stay in control when the forecast in your rig calls for XFX's Supercell fan. Its oversized 100mm diameter plus 11 heat-destroying blades is just what is needed to give you hours of demanding gameplay. Our Supercell fans lowers fan noise by 10% and improves airflow by 10%. Quadcom, 4x composite heat pipes. Sometimes more is more. XFX continues to push the boundaries of XS, employing 4 composite heat pipes and increasing overall heatsink by 15% with copper base gives our gaming enthusiasts a solid foundation of stability to take their gaming experience to the known limit. 0dB Auto Load Sensing Fan. XFX fans are equipped to run at the highest possible performance, while our 0dB fan system will also keep your fans running at the efficient RPM in order to minimize annoying fan noise by lowering RPM all the way down to 0 RPM. When the heat is on during an intense battling session, our fans will speed up when you do. Additional features: Radeon FreeSync 2 HDR, Radeon Chill, Relive Capture, DirectX 12, Vulkan, AMD Virtual Super Resolution, Radeon Software, AMD Crossfire Technology, AMD X-Connect Ready, AMD iFinity Technology, OpenCL Support, Polaris Architecture, AMD Liquid VR Technology. So it's a pretty nice graphics card. I also have heard, although I don't know how accurate it necessarily is, but XFX is allegedly one of the higher end brands for this card, so I will trust that. Now let's get to opening it. Extruded or embossed XFX logo right here, which is pretty cool. Three important notes from XFX support. 1. Thank you for your purchase. 2. If you encounter any trouble with setting up your graphics card or new computer, please call us. Most issues can be resolved with a phone call. 3. Take a moment to write a review. Check our website or call us to see if you qualify for any promotional gifts. Stop. Important driver information. If you are connected to the internet, it is highly recommended to download the latest drivers to receive all the latest optimizations and bug fixes. The driver on the included installation disk are recommended for systems not connected to the internet. Please visit one of the following sites to download the latest driver package and software. Driver installation DVD, as well as a Molex cable. Oh, I see. So we have something for a modular power supply cable, I believe. that it's a 4-pin connector that plugs into the graphics card. Both adapters. This one adapts to a 3-pin from Molex. We will be needing other things because we did not get a modular power supply. It's all non-modular. And there is the graphics card. And it's shock-resistant conductive bag. Installation guide. And there it is. There's the back plate with the XFX logo on it. Very thick heat sink and heat pipes. You can tell why they call it the Fat Boy, because it is one fat boy. And it looks like a boat. Got our 2 fans. Dissipate some of that heat. Here we have the one HDMI, 3 DisplayPort, and 1 DVI. Even has the XFX logo cut out into this grid. That's pretty cool. And of course the plastic rubber cover that protects the electronics. So let's go ahead and give this a good peel. Everyone loves a good peel. So the front, or the bottom rather, has this sort of semi-textured look. It looks kind of like corrugated steel or something. Now the peel on the back. Look at that one. That's a nice peel. Perfect. Couldn't have asked for a better peel. So this side is completely flat. It has these holes, the XFX logo. And yeah, it's just kind of protecting the electronics, which is nice. The normal top of a graphics card doesn't look that ugly, but having this back plate is really nice. Now, I can't say this is necessarily going to be the most attractive graphics card, but I think it looks pretty cool, and it's going to stay cool and quiet. These heat pipes and this heatsink are enormous, and it does require 2 different power plugs, which our power supply does have. Most of the graphics cards I work with just use the 4-pin and not the 3-pin. So you can tell this is going to be a hungry card, but I think it's going to get the job done. It's certainly going to play PUBG and other games very well, and sort of not future-proofing, but it's going to handle a lot of, high-tier games. Let's see if the installation guide has anything for us. I can read a little bit. Folds out like this. Before you start, checklist. Power connections. Check your graphics card for power connections. These are typically on the back side of the card, depending on the model, there will be no connections, one 6-pin connection, two 6-pin connections, one 6-pin and one 8-pin connection, or two 8-pin connectors. In this case, we have the 6 and the 8. Step 2. Make sure you have a PCIe X16 slot. Step 3. Check for the correct monitor connections. Make sure your monitor has a cable that's supported by the graphics card. And here we have the various displays. We have DVI, and we have HDMI, and we have DisplayPort. Step 4, important note. Card must be physically installed into the system and providing signal to the monitor before drivers and software are to be installed. Do not try installing the driver software before the card is physically installed. Physical installation. Step 1, unplug system. Do not make changes to the inside of your computer system with the system plugged into an outlet. Step 2, ground yourself if possible. Electrostatic discharge can cause damage to computer components. Observe precautions when handling parts. Step 3, remove old video card. If you are upgrading an older video card, you must first remove it. Refer to images 1 and 2 to the right. This was obviously not super well translated. Step 4, install new video card. Locate the PCIe X16 slot on your motherboard and physically install the graphics card. You will likely need a Phillips screwdriver to screw in the retention screw on the metal bracket. Refer to images 3 and 4 to the right. Connect power. Check if graphics card has any 6-pin or 8-pin PCIe power connections. If it does, those must be connected. Step 6. Plug monitor into the video card. Make sure your monitor is connected directly to the graphics card. Onboard or built-in graphics typically will be disabled when the system detects an add-in graphics card. If you're using an adapter on your monitor cable, make sure it's supported. Many newer graphics cards do not support DVI to VGA adapters. Step 7. Plug in and turn the computer on. If everything was installed properly, then you should now have video signal to your monitor, and the system will start booting to your operating system. Software installation. Step 1. Important note. The first time you boot into Windows, you will automatically get assigned a standard graphics driver. This is normal. It allows you to use the system until the Radeon graphics driver is installed. Step 2. Get the latest driver. If possible, go directly to www.amd.com and get the latest graphics driver. AMD releases driver updates monthly, so it is recommended. Step 3. Disable antivirus. If you run third-party antivirus or malware programs like Norton, McAfee, or Malwarebytes, it is recommended to temporarily disable those. Step 4. Extract the installer. The first thing that will happen when you run the driver installation is it will extract itself to a C drive/AMD folder. Go ahead and let it so the installation can begin. Step 5. Start the installer. Once extracted, you will be prompted with a screen to install, upgrade, or uninstall. Click Install or Upgrade if you had a previous AMD driver. Step 6. Select components. While we recommend installing all components, at the very minimum, the AMD display driver and HDMI audio driver are recommended. 7. Sit back and wait. The installation process will usually complete in less than 5 minutes. During the installation, your monitors might go black for a little bit, but should come back. This is normal. Step 8. Restart system. Once the installation is complete, you will be prompted to restart. Go ahead and do this. Once restarted, your graphics card will then be ready to use. Important information. Adapters. DVI to VGA. These adapters will only work on a DVI-D port. Unfortunately, most modern graphics cards are dropping support for these. DVI to HDMI. These normally work fine. You might need a specific adapter to support HDMI audio. DisplayPort to HDMI. Active adapters are recommended if using one of these. Not all graphics cards support passive adapters. DisplayPort to VGA. The only way to get VGA out of many newer performance cards. They work as long as they are active adapters. DisplayPort to DVI. Active adapters are recommended if using one of these. Not all graphics cards support passive adapters. Mini DisplayPort to DisplayPort. DisplayPort can be converted to Mini DisplayPort and vice versa without issue. Troubleshooting. No video signal. If this is a new system that you have never received video signal from, check the following, as all these components have to be functioning properly to get a video signal. Graphics card connections, motherboard power connections, CPU, system RAM, power supply. System that works with another graphics card. Check your graphics card for power connections. If you have them if you have them, they all need to be plugged in for the card to function properly. Check for motherboard BIOS updates. Check motherboard BIOS and UEFI and legacy hardware support options. Enable legacy hardware support, disable secure boot. You may need to consult the system manufacturer's support to see if this applies to you. Screen looks distorted. Make sure drivers are installed. No drivers will often cause a low resolution, making the screen look off. Check monitor cable connections that none are loose. Strange colors can appear on the screen if your monitor cable is loose. Check Windows display properties or Catalyst software suite and make sure your monitor resolution is set properly. If the graphics card is outputting a resolution that the monitor doesn't like, the screen might appear distorted. Important information. Power. Make sure your power supply meets the minimum power requirements of the graphics card. An insufficient power supply could cause stability issues in the system. When it comes to power supplies, it's always a good idea to have a larger one than your minimum requirements. Important information. Power connections. Adapters are not recommended. Straight power connections from your power supply should be used. 6-pin connections needs a 6-pin connector. 8 pins can use an 8-pin or a 6+2. For RX series cards, there is an LED indicator light near the external power connector on the video card to show if the connection is made properly. If the light is red, then the power is not hooked up properly. If blue, then the power is connected properly. Be sure to disconnect the main power from the wall before making any adjustments in the case. Replacing XFX hard swap fans. Quickly and easily replace the fan on your graphics card. Step 1. First, remove your graphics card from the computer system. It is not recommended to install new fans while inside your computer. Step 2. Simply push in the tabs holding the fan into the graphics card shroud and pull it out. Step 3. When installing the replacement fan, make sure the gold power connections are lined up between the fan and the card shroud. Step 4. Make sure both fan tabs lock into place and you are done. Reinstall the graphics card back into the system. And from the looks of it, we do not have those swappable fans. These are most certainly locked in here. So that's fine, we don't need to change them anyways. Anyways, guys, that has been my unboxing of the XFX Radeon RX 590. I'm very excited to build the system this card is going in. Maybe I will even make a video of that. We'll see. At the very least, you'll be able to find a picture of it on my Twitter and probably Instagram as well. So thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Good night.